Okay, so now we are thrilled to have Shruti Shah with us today. So she's a senior cloud consultant and a recognized Microsoft 365 um, and Power Platform subject matter expert, helping organizations leverage cloud technologies for business transformation. She is an MVP, Microsoft MVP. Shruti has been consistently recognized for her contributions to the Microsoft community. Her expertise as a leader, like thought leadership, like and knowledge sharing efforts, have also earned her the title of LinkedIn Top Voice previously. And beyond her technical expertise, Shrishti is a passionate speaker and evangelist, actively guiding professionals and listeners on their journey with Microsoft technology. And on behalf of Delhi community, we are excited to learn from her today. Please join me in welcoming Shrishti. Hi, Shrishti. How are you?
Hello, I am good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for
Awesome.
joining us today. You can start
Yes,
now.
perfect. Okay, before I start, I would just like to thank all the organizers because I know it's quite a task to plan an event and also come up with the agenda and everything, rolling out with the meeting invites. I can understand. So thank you so much for all. I think this is the sixth time we are hosting uh, Global Power Platform Bootcamp, and I have been privileged to be associated with this community for a quite some time, I think. But thank you so much, everyone, even the organizers. Yeah, thanks a lot for all the efforts which you put, and definitely all the attendees for your commitment on weekends so that you can gain some knowledge. Okay, let me know once you can see my screen. Is it visible?
Yeah, visible, Shrishti. You can go ahead.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So today what I'm going to talk about is autonomous agents. Now, we have been talking a lot about Copilot. And when I say Copilot, it is not just restricted to M365 Copilot or Copilot, which is built on top of Copilot Studio, but there are different variants of Copilot which you can find across Microsoft ecosystem. For example, consider you are working on Microsoft 365. You would find Copilot in Teams. You would find Copilot, which is in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and loop components across everywhere. So what are those? Those are the agents, right? Now, recently, I think more than 1 year back, Microsoft renamed Power Virtual Agents to Copilot Studio, where we can go ahead and build our custom agents, which are called as custom co-pilots as well. So don't get confused between agents and co-pilot. It is one and the same. It's just the matter of how you're building it, whether you're building it from scratch, either using low code, which is Copilot Studio, or it is on pro code side from Azure AI Foundry. At the end, we are building the agents. Now these agents are performing a specific tasks. So if you go ahead and go inside the M365 Copilot, you will find a lot of co-pilots which helps you perform defined tasks. For example, maybe it can be your project management co-pilot, it can be your thought leadership co-pilot, or anything. What that agent will do is that agent will only perform the tasks which you have asked to. If you ask something out of the topic which is not related to that agent, it will not provide you that information. Hence these are called agents. Agents are supposed to perform a predefined set of tasks and on a predefined set of knowledge. Coming to different set of agents. Now what ideally we do is agents at times act like your chatbots. Maybe you use generative AI features, which I'll talk about if someone is very new and they are not aware about agents with generative AI features. But still, that still acts like a chatbot. But what if I want to have an agent without any human interruption? It will perform all the actions, all the activities, and it is done. Like it has performed the task or it has completed the action items which were provided, and you are not even providing a single input. If there is a requirement where you need approvals, definitely we can have that. But these are called as autonomous agents, wherein there is no human interference, but it is following a set of instructions. Hence, it is called as autonomous, which will be running on a pilot version, probably where your human inputs are not required. So one such agent I have come up with today, and this is a simple example which I could take for this community so that you can build more on top of it. This is like a vanilla canvas wherein you can put or you can do as much as things as you want with the instructions. But I'm just going to keep it very simple so that everyone can relate it and take this back and build own autonomous agents for their organizations or for their own use cases. Okay, so this covers what I want to talk about today and what this session is about. Definitely, it will not be a slide at all. I'll be showcasing it live in Copilot Studio. So I've already covered what I'm going to talk about. So let's just quickly, before I move towards Copilot Studio and different type of agents, it's also important to understand the different Copilots and how they help you out. For example, let's take M365 Copilot or Microsoft 365 Copilot. What it helps you to do is it helps you in your productivity, right? So this is a Copilot, as I always mention, Copilot is like your, helper and assistant. Definitely, it is not going to replace you, but you have to learn to work with AI, which is any of the agents, AI agents. Now, how it will help you? Probably, I want to generate some text. I want to generate an image. It is not just limited to generation. You can extract important information. You can do a lot of things with that AI. But in M365 Copilot, definitely it acts as your assistant, wherein you can leverage all the Microsoft Microsoft Graph information, either it is meeting, people, contact, or everything, right? Hence, it is called as an assistant at work, which is the other set of Copilot layer, that is Copilot Studio. What you do here is you build your custom agents, but it is not just restricted to building. You can manage those agents. You can also extend those agents to your Microsoft 365 Copilot or any of the sales in Dynamics 365. You can extend it to few of the platforms. So here in Copilot Studio, you are building your agent from scratch. Next. Another layer is Azure AI Foundry. Now, for example, you are not from the low code platform and you don't know how to use Automate, how to use Power Apps. You don't know about Copilot Studio. Still, there is a way for you wherein you can go ahead and build your own agents. Where you can do that? You can do that in Azure AI Foundry, which is found in your Azure AI platform. All you need to do is you just need to create an AI service where you can either use fine-tuned models which are provided by different vendors, either it is Microsoft, Hugging Face, Meta, Llama, anyone, or you can also ground it with your data and you can create your own models as well. So these are the three ways wherein these are the three platforms wherein you can go ahead and build your agents. Now,
Hi, Shrishti, are you there? Any problem?
Think she's disconnected.
Okay. Let me just try to connect with her. Give me a second.
hello, somehow I just got dropped off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no problem, Shrishti. I'm trying to connect with you through WhatsApp. Yeah. Is it fine? Everything
Let
fine with your end?
I just probably got pulled out of the call. I'll share
Okay.
my.
Sure, sure.
Let me know once it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. I'm not sure how much I covered, but I'll quickly repeat and give you a short overview again. So what I was trying to say is I can understand, or probably whomsoever has, has little bit of idea on Copilot agents. Definitely, you can go ahead and build agents in Copilot Studio. You can do the same on from Procore side in AI Foundry. But why M365 Copilot is put here? Because there is an agent builder experience in Microsoft 365 Copilot, which you can go ahead and find it inside your Microsoft 365 Copilot. All you need to do is in the top or in the rightmost section, you can find all the agents which are listed, and there is an option for creation, and that is based on the permission and licensing. So if you don't have license, or if you don't have, you're not the person who is provided, or who has got the license, then you'll not see the create agent option in your Microsoft 365 Copilot. But these are the three platforms where you can go ahead and build agents. Coming to the next. So this is what I was talking about. As you can see from the GIF, wherein this is the agent builder experience, but this agent builder experience is exactly using Copilot Studio. As you can see already, this look and feel is from Copilot Studio, where you are just configuring, providing the instructions, adding some knowledge, and if there are any actions, or if there are any connectors which you want to leverage, you can do that. And this specific agent will only perform a set of instructions which you are providing. And this is embedded inside of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and this is using Copilot Studio behind the scenes. Coming to the next, what we can do in Copilot Studio, I'm definitely going to put a brief light there. So I'll skip the slides. Okay. This is important to understand Copilot and agents in the Microsoft ecosystem. Where we are and what we're going to talk about is Microsoft Copilot Studio. As you can see, here we can build agents, we can extend, customize first-party copilots. But what it is using underlining, the underneath layer, what exactly that comprise of? So you can see that the underneath layer is using the latest AI model, which is part of Azure AI Foundry. You can also, this is using the bot framework channels and SDK, but at a only bare minimum level. But if you want to extend it to your bot framework using SDK, you can do that later as well. But behind or beneath, it is using that. Also, it is leveraging the Power Platform connectors and some of the cognitive services and service channels. Now, you would say, hey, why there is a cognitive service? Because there is also a layer in Power Platform where you can use the AI models, and not just all the cognitive service models, but also the prompt models. Hence, this is the underneath layer, which is the Power Platform or Copilot Studio is built upon. Coming to the another aspect, where you can see that, okay, once you are done building it, what you are doing, you are creating a custom agents, or else you can extend, as I mentioned, to M365 or some of the biz applications like sales, service, and also in your Power Apps, you can extend these agents too. And some other Microsoft Copilots which you can find. These are SharePoint agents and different ones. So this is what Copilot and agent looks like in Microsoft ecosystem. Coming to the important thing. Now you would say, I already have out of the box or many platforms where I can, use chat GPT or Copilot. If you have the license of Copilot, then why organizations would need Copilot Studio? One, because you either have, if you have the Microsoft 365 license, then you get Power Platform services like Power Automate and Power Apps as well. Then you can quickly enhance or use your connectors, and using those connectors you can create custom agents. Now this is an add-on fee, add-on license, wherein you need to pay more if you want to create agents. It's not just that, you can also use your enterprise knowledge. Now connectors are built on top of all the Microsoft services, right? But if you have enterprise knowledge which is residing in ERP or probably SAP or another platform like Confluence, then you can bring that data in as well, and you can connect with it, and you can create an agent on top of that. While flexibility, definitely, because we are using the generative AI models, which is directly, as we saw, it is underlining using our Azure AI Foundry model. So this covers why an organization should use Copilot Studio. The another important thing, different type of agents. Here is our main focus. Which are the different type of agents which you can build in Copilot Studio? One is the retrieval one. I'll show you what does retrieval means. Uh, Tasks and autonomous. We are just going to check in detail. So I'll skip this. And let's just go to the autonomous agents. But before we build autonomous agents, let's just go into the Copilot Studio and check in detail. Let me just share my demo window. Okay. Let me know if this is visible to you all and I am still audible. My network is fine. Um, Gomati, if you can just confirm. I am audible, right? Just hands up, thumbs up, or something if you can do.
Yeah, you are audible. Continue.
Okay, cool. So what we are going to do is just going to take you to the Copilot Studio, or just for overview if someone is very new to Copilot Studio. This is the Copilot Studio, wherein if you go to the home, you'll find a Copilot box wherein you can describe what you want to build a agent on. Maybe I can just
Maybe I
describe.
can
I
just
want
describe.
someone. Okay. Maybe I can just describe. I want to build an agent will perform the task project manager. And can you please unmute? I think someone has unmuted. Please unmute. So I'm hearing my echo. Okay, you just need to draft your prompt. What do you want to, or how do you want to build your agent? Once you are done with the prompt, it will take you to the agent builder experience. That experience will look something like this. As soon as you draft a prompt, it will ask you that, okay, what do you want your agent to be like? What instructions do you want to provide? What is the knowledge? All those Q&A, you can just answer it from here. Or if you don't want this experience, this is the agent builder, wherein you get a prompt, you type in, and your agent will be created based on the inputs which you provide. You can also skip this, and you can configure your agent right from here. Maybe my agent is Power Platform Bootcamp, and you can also provide a icon if you want, and you can provide a description on what this agent is going to do, so that everyone is aware the agent is about, right? So you can, this agent will be helping in organizing events by making the list of the event activities and instructions. Right now I'm not going to put any instructions. I don't have any knowledge to provide. Let me just hit create. It will take 1 or 2 minutes to create, and then we'll see what are the different features. Okay, it is very quick. It has created the agent. But coming back in the meantime, that creates, if you don't want to create from scratch, you can also leverage the templates. So what Microsoft does is it has provided I think a dozen of templates. So if you hit see more, you can see all the templates wherein you can build Copilot. Rather than building it from scratch, you can build it from one of the templates. So there is a safe travel, financial, weather, voice, benefits. All of these are ready to use. You can pick any one based on, okay, this is matching my purpose. I want to build something around this. You pick any one of them. For example, case management or IT help desk. Hit on it, and you will see all the pre-populated knowledge information, instructions, description. Either you can, if you want, you can change it anytime, but if you want, you can use it as well. And you can also see the connectors from where this knowledge is taking. You can delete this if you don't have your knowledge, or your help desk is not with ServiceNow. If your help desk is with some other enterprise application, you can use that as well. But this acts as your template wherein you can just do modify more on top of it. Let's just go back to our created agent. As you can see, I've just added a name. I haven't done anything else. And everything else remains the same, like the topics, you get the custom topics, you get the system defined topics. But where is the generative AI layer? We just saw the three things: retrieval, tasks, and autonomous. These are the three things which you can do in the agent. Now, retrieval means if you have a knowledge, that knowledge can either be from SharePoint, from Dataverse, on Azure search side. If it is in blob storage, you link it to Azure search, you are done. If your knowledge is anywhere, okay, and you want to add that knowledge, maybe it is Excel, a file, put that knowledge, and your agent is ready. How? So go to the settings, go to the generative AI, you select this generative AI feature, save. You can skip this if it is disabled, still that is fine. I'll disable it as well. And I'll come to it what this feature is about. So let's just disable this and save. Okay, still saving. Um, Let me close. Now I have enabled the generative AI feature. What benefits it gives me is when I create a topic, now I can create a topic from description. which means there is a Copilot box. You describe and you get a topic generated. For example, just one example I'll quickly give you. Name your topic, create item in SharePoint. And what this topic will do is, whenever user types create item, ask them what task they want to add to SharePoint. I'm just putting a description that topic, whenever is invoked by a user, they should create or ask user what task item you want to add in your SharePoint list. As soon as I hit create, it will by default help me with all those nodes. Okay, yeah, it is creating that. So as you can see, I haven't done anything. I just put it some description and it has just put it one question. But if we would have provided that, okay, if the user says create, then call out this action based on condition, it would have also provided those underneath branches, condition matching, and then sending out a message. So these by default, with the help of Copilot, you get a templated version of topic wherein you can refine more. And this is basically using your YAML code. So if you are more fluent with YAML, then as you can see, behind the scenes, it is just YAML written and you can update it from your as well. Going back, this is just a topic I'm not going to save. Just want to show you. That is one API feature. The other is knowledge. So let's say I have a knowledge which is residing or which is provided in some website. Let's just take, for example, Microsoft Power Platform Learn. Just take one. And I'm just going to provide the root site. And I'll go to the knowledge. I'll add. And what are the different knowledges which you can add for retrieval? Public website, SharePoint, Dataverse. And in the advanced, you can see all the other enterprises as well, like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Zendesk, Azure AI Search. So you can put all of these. And there are few more, I think, which are coming soon. So these are the unavailable ones which are coming soon. So just stay tuned. If you have anything on DevOps, maybe tomorrow you can directly have your knowledge from DevOps Wiki as well. Let's just go and leverage public websites right now. And I'm just going to put learn. And this stays as is. You can put the description of what that website is about. You can also provide a title. Let's just wait for it to be added. What it will do is, now we'll see retrieval in action. So retrieval means there is some knowledge which is provided and you want, or you are querying something and you want that knowledge to be provided from the knowledge which you have added, right? That is what it means by retrieval. So retrieval can, as I mentioned, it can be from any websites. Now what I'll have to do is I just quickly ask, what is Microsoft Power Platform? And I want to cover few important notes here. It is now going inside my knowledge and it has fetched the information from knowledge. You see? Now, okay, this is fine. I got the information, but this is, plain text. I don't want like this. I want to also provide some instructions that whenever you provide the information, you provide it in a detailed format, in a bullet format, where you can do that. You can do that at two places. All those instructions which you want. Maybe you also remove citations. You can also just ask that bold the important pointers, in the bold format, so that the readability is very well reached to the user. You can do all of those things in two places. One is instructions. Instructions play a vital role in all our agents. Generative AI feature is just about retrieving, but what it's doing is it is providing the exact information which the model has found, and it has put it in my window. No, I don't want this. I want it to refine more. All those refinements on the received responses can be put in the instructions here. Or because we've enabled the generative AI setting, you also have a out of the box topic called as conversational boosting. In the conversational boosting, you always have to select from where you want your responses to be. Now you see from the reference, I can understand, and also from the mapping that, okay, it has given me the information from the knowledge. But let's say I ask a question, what is the significance of fruit mango? Just, just hit enter. We have not provided that knowledge, right? And hence it should not ever show that information. See, it did provide the information, but there is no citation here. Why? Because learn.microsoft.com does not hold this information and it has generated the information from AI. Why? Because there is a setting called allow AI to use its own knowledge. Hence, you are getting these responses. As soon as I toggle this off, you are bounding your agent to only respond or only provide the information of what you have. And you can also put a guardrail. So let's just see again. I will refresh and I'll ask significance of fruit mango. See, it is still provided, it shouldn't, but there are no results which are found. And why is this happening is we have a topic, conversation boosting. In the conversation boosting, there is no guardrail. Okay, if I don't find the information, then what should I do? In all the other conditions, there is no fallback provided, right? You can do that. You can put your fallback response. I do not have the information. And coming back to the instructions, if I go to the sources, I only want, so here this was on, I'll disable that, and I only want my agent to respond from this knowledge source. And if you want to add instructions, you can add those instructions here. And at times we also have to consider the data retrieval. When you retrieve some information or when that query is passed as a token, you don't want everything to be taken right to the AI model. Hence, you need to moderate that to high level. So all those customizations. So whenever AI will respond back with the response, and whenever you are typing any query, so those two input and output will be moderated and filtered. So if there are anything which are harmful, it will not consider and it will fall back to the response which you provide. Those instructions you can pass down either here or in the instructions at the root level. As soon as you hit save, now because I've turned off that hey, you don't have to use general knowledge at all. You only have to use the knowledge which is provided. This is retrieval. This covers one type of agent wherein you have some knowledge, whether it is from any source, you are retrieving the information from that source. And again, if I have to just type in the same query, let's just quickly validate whether it is showing information or not. Okay, it is still showing. I don't know why it shouldn't. It will not ideally show, but maybe it has stored somewhere in the cache and hence it is showing. This covers one agent which is retrieval. Now coming to the another agent which is tasks. For example, if I want to perform some action, and those action can be okay, creating a row, getting the weather, or creating an item in the list, creating a row in the dataverse, or any action. Maybe you want to create a work item in DevOps. So considering today's scenario wherein I'm working with DevOps and I'm empowering the project managers to use an agent which will help them to create tasks efficiently in the DevOps, right? With all the details like repro steps or comments or discussions. How you can do that? You can do all of those things by adding actions. So actions holds all the connectors which you find in Power Automate. All those connectors you can find it here. So let's consider an example. Create an item. And what am I doing? Where do I want to create that item? In SharePoint or in DevOps? Right now, for this environment, I don't have a DevOps integration. So I can just quickly pick create an item in SharePoint. And this will show all the connector details. Like this is the description. This is the action name. you have to keep in mind that whenever user types in on invokes, just keep this in mind. Each action is by default a task or a topic. So whenever you say action, it creates or it works as a topic behind the scenes. Because I already have connected, I'll go next and you will see what is the name of the action, create item, and how this will be invoked whenever user will type in create item. So this is how it is linked to. But if you want to provide a detailed description that, okay, this topic or this action can be invoked when user says, okay, create work item. Maybe you just have an internal team which says work item and that is residing in SharePoint. You can do that. So I'll quickly update create work item so that you know how this platform works. This will create a work item in SharePoint list. And the authentication, right now I'm using my authentication. It is always advised to use the authentication of the user who is going to run. And Copilot authentication works like similar concept of service principal or service account, wherein you just have one authentication set it up, and this Copilot will take those authentication credentials and it will run like that. But it is for auditing purposes, you will not be able to identify who is running, and who has used a lot of generative AI features. It will be difficult to track those usability. Hence, it is advised to use user authentication. Going to add action. Here you saw we did not configure anything in the inputs and outputs. And let's just quickly validate, and I'll show you the significance of inputs and outputs. It might take few seconds. As you can see, the action is added, and by default, you can keep this in mind. Each action is a topic. So how we used to invoke the topic, okay, hi, and then it used to give back the conversations, hello. All of those are configured as a standalone topics. Actions act in the similar manner. So go to this topic and you will see the inputs and outputs, just like any other connector in Power Platform. You see the inputs. What are these? These are the required inputs, which are required for this connector to run. What it needs: site address, list name, and no other inputs. But if you go to the Power Platform, if you add this same connector, you have more, right? You can filter, you can add how many rows you want to, get back. All those inputs are still there. You can find those in the add section, wherein limit columns by view. This is the only additional input for this connector, but it is optional, hence it is put it in the add section. Now you can do two things. The site address, right? You need to add the site address. Let me just pick one site address of my event registration and list name. Now, list name can be dynamically populated or set as a value. These are the two options whenever you on generative AI. What happens is, as soon as I invoke, I want to create an item in SharePoint. What it will do, it will trigger this action and it will try to fetch all the input parameters. For example, if the list name is not provided in the input, then it automatically asks you a question in the window. What is the list name? Where you want to create this item? All those. That is what it means by dynamically fill with the best option. And whatever user responds with, it take that whole string and it gives that value, and later this connector is used. Now, definitely items you won't add as static, right? Items can never be static because that is the dynamic thing which you want to achieve. While the SharePoint site address and list name can be a static one. So let's just go ahead and add a list. Ideally, it shows the options, but if it doesn't, then maybe we can pick the list from the SharePoint where I want to add. So let me just take one list name. And I'm just going to put site contents. Is there any events? Yeah, events list. I'll create one list quickly if there are no lists in my, okay, I don't have any. I'll create one blank. agenda. So let's just create, and it will only have one column, which is we can rename to event agenda, right? And let's just hit save, and we'll go to the list settings. We'll pick up the internal name of the list of the column and the name of the list. Okay, just copy. Now I can add this to my list name and we can save this. And this each action, as I mentioned, is a YAML. So you can find all those same details in the YAML as well. And now let's just, once this is done, we can invoke that action. Create an item in SharePoint. And let's see in the mapping pane, it is in create work item. It has invoked these two we have already passed. Now it is asking me what item would you like to create. I will say event timeline. And it will pick that value and it is not able to assist me. Why? Because there is a issue with the authentication. It is missing this information. I cannot assist what item would you like to create in SharePoint. Maybe we can just invoke again. Item agenda 1. I think some issue with my platform, but it ideally works. Oh, item has the object. Okay. Hence it is not picking up the string. So this is the difference. Whenever you add any of the details, you ensure the type of response is what it expects. So in the input, I missed looking at. So for example, the list name of type string. I'm not seeing the other. Okay. Let me just refresh and come back to the actions. Create item. You also have to keep in mind what type of data type it expects so that you provide in detail. Okay, some issue. But this is how your actions will work. I will show you on my platform side how it is working. So here also I'm doing the exact same thing and it works seamlessly. I'm using the connect actions, but that is my developer account, which does not have the required licenses. Hence it is not working fine for now, but this ideally works like charm. Just ensure that you have all the required data types and you feed the data in that data type. This covers the another layer, which is tasks, but you will not have discrete tasks like, okay, you just want to create. You might have a layer, just like a Power Automate flow, wherein you are creating an item, you're updating the user. You can also update the item and send out an email that this item is created. All those, nested actions can also stay. You can explicitly add each action and then go to the instructions and provide those instructions one by one. So how you're going to build that Power Automate flow in the exact manner, you have to provide instructions that once the item is created, go to the next action, provide the name of the action, what you want to do, right? You provide that details and then send out an email. Will also be in action. All those things you have to provide in detailed manner in the instructions. That leverages that full end-to-end circle, creates an agent of type tasks, wherein you are adding all the actions and you're providing the instruction. And with that instruction action combination, it is able to perform each task. Coming to the another last type of agent, which is autonomous agent. And that is, creating wonders in at least Copilot Studio. What do you mean by autonomous agent? Firstly, it is important to understand that it will not run and it will run without humans input. Whatever we did right now, it required human input. I put in some information and it took that information, and with that info it was able to, it will pose the query, pose the API and update the data in SharePoint list. But how it will do all of these things without human input, that is where autonomous agents come into the picture. what you need to do is for autonomous agent, you need to consider two important points. One is triggers and the other is orchestration. Trigger means on that particular event. For example, when an email is received or when a item is created in SharePoint or when an item or row is created in Dataverse, all those triggers. And if you hit on add triggers, you'll find all the triggers. These are same as Power Platform connector triggers. You can find it here. I can just pick up anything from Gmail. You can find all of those. You see Gmail, email, and any other emails, all of this, and also DevOps, when a work item is created, when a build is completed, when a code is pushed, all those triggers you can find it here. It is not just restricted to one or two service. These are same from the Power Platform. So you can find all of them in this list. Maybe let's just pick one trigger where an email arrives. Okay. So let's just hit on an email arrives and it will show me exact same look and feel like actions. It will have the name, description, authentication, inputs and outputs. Now, it will always add one more connection. Why? Because this is going to be triggered to Outlook, but using from my Copilot Studio. Hence, it always adds two connections, one of your connector, which is Outlook service, and the other is of Copilot. Now hit next. What do you want to do? Do you want to track an email box, which is your email box and or service account or support? For now, because I have access to my email box, I'll just provide my email here. So let me just quickly do that. And I will put my email. And if you scroll down, it has one additional layer which says whenever this will be triggered, it will hold your full JSON object, whole body, and it will store it in this variable called body. And you are free to use the body content. So now, as soon as I create this trigger, we'll see. I have not added any instructions, okay? So let's just quickly create. And you see what it is doing behind the scenes? The trigger is creating a Power Automate flow. This will take few seconds. Okay. I have my trigger ready and I can quickly test. But before going there, you hit on the three dots, you edit this in Power Automate. And see what you can see here. See the trigger and the output, which is the body, that is being sent to the Copilot for processing. So this is the connector which it is using. It is similar to when you use a flow, which is invoked from Power Apps, wherein you receive some inputs and you send to the Power Apps. This is exactly the same interface, wherein right now, instead of we are sending the details to Power Apps, we are sending it to Copilot for processing. And what we are sending is just the full JSON body. And you can quickly see here as well. Let me just hit. Before you hit this trigger, you always have to ensure this orchestration is on. Why you need this orchestration on is because whenever you test with the trigger, because I have not published this, hence I have to explicitly test just like how we do it in Power Automate. If it is published, it will automatically track your email box and it will send you the details. Whenever that trigger is, it goes to the instructions. Orchestration means it is passing, taking that data, and it goes to the instructions and it performs step one by one. Now here, I have not put in any instructions. No instructions are put in here. I will quickly test. Let's see. Let me refresh. What I've done is I've just sent out this email, but I need to send again. This is for my event planning team. I'll just copy this exact email. I have not put it any subject restriction. So whenever an email will be sent, it should track that. Event organizing. Let's send. And we should see a test email. Refresh. Let's see if it has arrived. Yeah, I have one, and let's start testing. What you will see is here in the window that send email would be running, but there are no instructions so that how we will use, what is next. But send when an email is received. If you open this, you see the detailed body. And now you're free to use all those details. Now what I can do is based on the maybe how you can layer this. Whenever an email is received, you need to pass that instructions. What we'll do is we'll quickly create an instruction. You don't have to explicitly type in. Right now, it will not work because it is expecting of type object. But whenever an email is received, let's just draft the instructions so that you can take this ahead when you go and try it out yourself. When an email is received with subject which contains event organizing. What I'm doing is I don't want all the emails to be read or to be autonomously triggered by my agent. It will explicitly go and check the subject whether it includes the string. It contains event organizing or event planning. Let's keep right now organizing because we have the test. Once it is done validating, we'll put if this condition is true, then follow the below instructions. 1. Fetch the email body, get the event task details. So what it will do is because we are using generative AI, because we are using trigger, and we have this information already from the trigger, it will go and read this email and it will try to find out. You see, this email is big. It has so much because my email had lot of details on the planning activities. Now I am explicitly asking fetch the email body, get the event task details, invoke the action, and this action will be create an item in SharePoint. Maybe we can just validate later the exact action name. This will invoke that action. What after that? Automatically fill in the row item with the task details. So what we are doing is, with the help of instructions, we are asking the agent that, hey, you don't need any human input. You already have that information in the email. All you need to do is just take each task from that email and put it as a row item in my SharePoint list. But now there is nowhere mentioned that, okay, each task has to be run in through the loop and pick that and create a new row altogether. That detailed level of instruction you will have to draft, that loop through the each event task detail and create a new row for each task item in the SharePoint list. Explicitly you have to mention that. Only then it will be able to perform all these. For drafting the instructions, you can also take help of Copilot and ChatGPT, but you can draft in the normal human language as well. As soon as I hit save, definitely it will not create an item because it expects the object, but it will trigger this action. So let's just see. Because we have this action, create item in SharePoint. Oops. let me just put the exact action name. I think it is correct. Yeah. As I mentioned, this each action is your topic. Hence, we have to be very sure on which action name. It is still fine if you miss out on adding SharePoint. That's fine. You can just add create item because we don't have multiple actions with same connector yet. Till that time, it is fine. So let's just go ahead and check. Okay, let's trigger and start testing. Now it should invoke the action automatically. See, it has. But the item value as it expects of type object, it was not able to pick up from the email, and it was not able to automatically pull that in, right? And you can see all these details, all that running activities. So whenever you run any of your trigger, you can find all these details in here. So as you can see, I've run this multiple times in the same demo call. So you can hit just this one and you can find all those details in the activity panel as well. This is what autonomous agents are about. So one such example I have created with DevOps, wherein I am invoking the create item, I am updating the create item, but we always need the ID if you want to update. Then from where that ID will be fetched, from the after the creation, it will fetch that ID and it will update the item. And it also has these actions, create and update, but these had no trigger because I was acting as project manager and I wanted to create the work items and I wanted to update by myself. Given that if you would have added the trigger of I want whenever a work item is created, you can do that easily. And based on that trigger, you could have performed this action, this instructions. So this is the beauty of autonomous agents, wherein you can put a detailed instruction and let the agent do its magic, and it will perform all these steps which are provided, and it will reach the goal without you doing anything. So wherever you need dynamic inputs, there you have to automatically fill those data through above actions or above whatever connectors you're using. If there is a requirement wherein an approval stage is needed and you don't want to do it full 100% autonomous, you can put that approval stage, and based on the approval outcome you can carry out the other steps or other connectors from the instructions. So all those things you have to refine and put it in the instructions explicitly. So this covers the autonomous agent, and you can work on autonomous agent with a lot of use cases, not just restricting to DevOps, not just restricting to Dataverse or SharePoint. You can have multiple use cases on which you can build autonomous agents. All you need to ensure is you just need a trigger. Okay. Just ensure you need a trigger, and those triggers have a huge library. As you can see, this library is very huge for triggers, and you can pick up any one of those. Okay, this is done. Just one last bit I would like to complete with before I move ahead with the slides. You can also leverage the AI prompt. Now, what I wanted to do is, but I do not have that license yet. What we could have done is we could have taken that email body, drafted a custom AI prompt, and asked that custom AI prompt to return a JSON object with the each task details. So when I say custom AI prompt, you need to go to the Power Apps, and you need to create a custom prompt wherein the input would be your email body, which that action would take. And based on that email body, you can just pick the high level event planning details in the JSON object. So I can go to the prompt, I can build a custom prompt, and in the input, here you need to create one variable, email body, and go through the email body and fetch the key task items from the same. And this email body would be the variable. You can also have inputs from your Dataverse table. Why am I not getting email body? Yes. Now, what I will do is just for you all to check. I'll put this full email body in my sample data, and I will put the output as type JSON and hit test prompt. And you will get a JSON, then you can loop through and create a row item dynamically. So you see this JSON is created, but if you only want the JSON to be a standalone single level JSON with key value, you can create a template here and then it will create specifically. So right now what it has done is this is the task, this is the subtask and the item. This is the chained JSON which is created, nested one. You can skip that and maybe you can say just a simple key value JSON and not nested object. Hit test prompt and see it has generated that. So this taking this output, you can trigger your SharePoint and then for each item, it should loop in through and create an item in the SharePoint list. So SharePoint is just an example that can be any data source or layer, but this is how you can leverage AI as well, because you will not be able to get the exact information of the email body. If the email body is too huge, you can just fetch to, from, subject, all those details are fine. But if your email body has a lot of data, then you can extract those information using leveraging the AI prompts as well. So this covers the autonomous and the AI capabilities in Copilot Studio. Coming back to the slide. So I have covered the different kind of copilots and agent which you can build. Either it is for your personal use or for enterprise wide, or you can scale this, in your organization, either with DevOps or anything. This is important, wherein what users are using is just the agent, which can be deployed in any of the channel, while the underlying layer can have different things like knowledge, which we just mentioned, the actions, triggers, or workflows, which we saw, and the planning exceptions and self-learning. This is basically for how, when you design the agent, this is your first step which you should follow. And this whole agentic behavior in Copilot Studio is using, as of now, currently GPT-4 model, GPT-4 latest model. And how the orchestration is done, that is through the instructions. So this is your agent autonomy. We've covered the demo, but for you all, the key takeaways are here. You can go to the blog website, the documentation, the learning resources, and if there are, any sample co-pilots available in the community, you can find those. If you need the implementation guide, or if you want to integrate co-pilots, if you already know how to build and you want to integrate this to D365, then you can find these detailed blogs as well. This is just for your takeaway. And I would strictly, or I can just ask you all to go ahead and start using Copilot Studio and build agents. I'm sure you would find wonders and different examples and use cases to try on. Hope this was helpful, and thank you so much again for staying till the end, and thanks to all the organizers. But if there are any more questions, I can just quickly take that as well.
Hey Shruti, thank you so much. We have a question. I think we have two questions here. Apart from task agents, won't we able to add actions for other agents?
We can add actions to any of the agents.
Okay.
As I
So,
mentioned, actions are like topics you can add as and when you want.
okay, great. So another question is like once this agent is created, does these agents are supported outside MS platform to embed or integrate them?
Yes, if you have custom websites, you can include the iframe in any custom websites. And all you need to do is just if the custom website has an authentication, then you need to set up an app registration. If you want this to be, if this is based with the knowledge which doesn't hold the authenticated information. For example, SharePoint. Take an example of SharePoint, which is a website which is authenticated with Enter ID. Now, if you're using something like that, then there will have to be an authentication setup in the Azure, only using which your users will be able to interact. You can host this in any custom website, in any channels which are supported by Copilot Studio, like Teams or demo websites, and there are a few more like what other channels. But yes, there are a few channels where you can host, and if you don't have any channels, your custom website can also host this Copilot. Three different ways of authentication. One is no authentication, one is with your Enter ID, and one is with the app registration.
Okay, great. So I really appreciate the time and effort you took to share your expertise with us, Shrishti. So thank you so much for your dedication and also for your complete explanation showing the demo. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Komati. Thanks a lot
Thank
again
you.
to the whole team and attendees for staying till the end.
Thank you. I'm just stopping the recording. Rajendra,
Yes, I'm
are you
there.
there? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm there. Thank you, Bhante. And
Thank
before
you.
moving on to the next session,